Hey guys, it's Mr. Mulvihill here, coming at you from the virtual world here. I hope you guys are doing all right. You got a sub today, so we're still going to be learning. We're going to go through these notes today. And how it's going to work is I'm going to talk you through some of these questions. You guys are going to copy the notes down, and then you're going to have some opportunity to practice what we learned. This is a little bit familiar from Thursday. So it should be a little bit of a review, but there's some new stuff we're learning, so it's going to be important that we pay attention. Okay, so just follow along as I read right here. Top left, last week we learned how expressions can help us find answers to many questions in life. For example, we learned that the expression 7h or 7 times h can tell you how many dog years your dog is, depending on however many human years. That's just the calculator we made. So let's say we have another calculator. Someone tells you this calculator, hey, I know how much your movie tickets, your total movie cost is going to be, depending on how many Skittles you get, how much popcorn you get. So they say, all right, here's your total cost expression. You do 5 times how many Skittles you get, plus 450 times how many popcorns you get, plus 14, and that's going to give you your total cost. So that's our expression, and we can use it. Looking ahead, looks like we got some more questions to do, so it might be helpful to just do shorthand, create the shorthand version. So maybe instead of doing 5 times Skittles, we could do 5 times S, so 5S. When numbers and letters are next to each other, multiply. Multiplication. Okay. Plus 450 p plus 14 to finish out that expression. This and this are equivalent. They mean the same thing. They look different, I know, but they mean the same thing. You can consider them equal, just like 4 quarters equals $1. Okay. So now let's actually not just have it for fun, let's actually use it for something. Let's use your expression to find the total price if you bought 4 Skittles and 1 popcorn. The only way we're going to do this is if we use our expression. So, well, 4 Skittles, we know that Skittles is represented by S. So S equals 4, and P for popcorn equals 1 because we got 1 popcorn. So now if we use our expression 5S plus 450 plus 14, and then we plug in our values for S and P. S is 4, so instead of doing 5S, delete, we're not doing 5S. We're doing 5 times 4 because S is 4. So you're writing this down, 5 times 4 plus 450, I forgot the P up there. 450 times 1 plus 14. You type all that into your calculator. And you should get 3850. Make sure that is by, typing into your calculator. So if we got 4 Skittles, 1 popcorn, looks like that 14 represents probably the ticket. I don't know why else we'd add 14 to our total price. That's probably our ticket, and that's what we get. We get 38.50 by plugging in. So I want you to use the expression now in the next minute or two to find the total cost if you bought 2 Skittles and 3 popcorns. And then when you get the answer, 5 Skittles and 5 popcorns. This video is going to get paused right now, and when you guys are all done, we'll reveal the answers. Okay, so the answer to this question should be 37.50, and the answer to the other question should be 61.50 using your expression. All right, just plug in your values. All right, moving on. Let us try example 2. Let's see what this expression, let's see if it's anything cool going on here. Let's see. The expression below can tell us how high a rocket ship is in miles after a certain amount of seconds. So you're picturing this in your head. I'm picturing it. Rockets, how high is it after a certain amount of seconds? After 1 second, it's probably still pretty close to the Earth. But after 100 seconds, 1 minute, 40 seconds, for those of you doing the math, it's probably much higher. Well, how high? That's what this expression is going to do for us. Wait a second. This is kind of the same thing. We have an expression here that we can use to plug in our values. And it looks like my thing has m's, but the m's are really seconds. And what we're going to do now, as you might guess, is we're going to see how high will the rocket be in 20 seconds. So if it's 20 seconds, 20 equals s, and we're going to plug in s, or excuse me, we're going to plug in 20 everywhere we see an s. As you can see, this might take a little bit. This is complicated stuff. It's literally rocket science. So you are going to plug in 20 everywhere you see an S, and you're going to see how high the rocket is after that amount of time in miles. So you can go ahead and do this. You're writing this down, just plugging in your values. Why did I do S? I know I'm not doing S, I'm doing 20. So you put all of that into your calculator using order of operations, including your minus signs. Don't forget it, you'll get the wrong answer. And what did you get here? Let's see. If I'm doing this in my head, which I wouldn't recommend, I'm actually going to get out a calculator here. Let me get out my calculator and type this in. Let's see. And you should get 182 miles. So what I want you to do now is we're going to pause the video again. I want you guys to try numbers 2 and 3 on your own and see where the rocket would be after 27 seconds and 500 seconds respectively. Alrighty, you guys. That was probably a lot of work. Like I said, it's rocket science. Maybe you know how to make that work a little bit quicker. If you do, let me know tomorrow. Let me know tomorrow. All right, so what we're going to do for the second half of class here is we are going to learn, well, relearn almost some of these key vocabulary words. We have, expression, terms, variables, coefficients, and constants. Before we get to that, I do want to just do a little bit of review. So in this space that you have up here in your notes, I want you to write down, what is this? I want you to write down the fraction I want you guys to write down the fraction 10 times 2 over 4. Right? So here's some fraction we have here, and this is just going to help us out in just a little minute. You might know what that equals. If you do know what it equals, you can do it to the side real quick. But if you don't, what I want us to kind of look at is just notice how we can reorder some things. So we do know that right below this, I want you guys to rewrite it, and I also want you to do the fact that, hey, instead of 10 times 2, we can do that dot symbol because that means the same as multiplication. And then after you do the dot, you know what? Let's actually just do parentheses. 10 times 2, right? So we have 10 times 2, or 4. Like we said before, these are really the same thing. Instead of doing the times symbol for multiplication, we do the parentheses. Now, what I also want us to do is to recognize one thing. And that is, with order of operations, we are actually allowed to reorder this. So instead of having like a fraction, one fraction, we can make it one big time symbol because division and multiplication are very closely related. So right under that, I want you to write 10 over 4 times 2. And what's really important is that I want you to recognize that right there is the same thing as this. So we kind of just pulled that 10 over 4 out. We're allowed to do that with division. Okay, we're going to keep that in mind. So now if we look down further on our page, we have these different terms here in expression. If we review, it's anything that has numbers, the numbers, operations, variables. Then we have terms. Those are numbers and variables separated by pluses and minus signs. Then we also have variables, which is just the letters, coefficients, which are numbers in front of variables, and constants, which are numbers by themselves. So let's take an example. Let's look at that the movie ticket one, which was 5s plus 450p plus 14. All right? And now we're going to pick apart and just identify what is what in this whole expression. So the terms are everything separated by a plus or minus sign. So we have 5s, the next one is 450p, and the next one is 14. The variables here are s and p, just the letters. The coefficients are the numbers in front of the letters. Well, the only letters here are s and p. The number in front of s is 5. The number in front of p is 450. And then the constant is just the number by itself, which is 14. There you go. You guys could probably do that one on your own. I'm going to jump down here, just two trickier ones. This one, 3s plus 4 plus s. The term are 3s, 4, and s. The variables are just, it's only s. The coefficients here, tricky part. If there's ever just a variable with no number in front of it, it's really a 1. How come? We can talk about that on Tuesday, but if you do know, let me know. So then the coefficient here are 1 and 3, and the constant is 4. All right, for fractions, what we are going to do is we are going to rewrite it. So instead of h over 12, we are going to have, since division is really multiplication, we're going to have 1 over 12 h minus 8. And now you're asking yourselves, okay, what is the coefficient here? The number in front of the variable, it would just be 1 over 12. And of course, our variable is h, and we have those two terms. Our constant is still 8 too. Thank you.